we'll get right into it. Chris Kirk, thank you for joining us here at the American Express event. This is your 8th start here. And I was looking at your stats.
Yes.
The first time you played was 2011, and you had your best finish that year, tied for 7th.
Mm-hmm.
It was 10 years ago. What do you recall of playing the event back then when you first came here? And what was your impression of this event?
Yeah, I remember that well. I remember playing, I'd say my main memory is playing the final round with Bill Haas and watching him. I don't think that he won that year. I think he had won the year before, and he probably finished second or something that year, and watching him shoot 7 or 8 under the final round, in my eyes, like it was nothing, and being pretty amazed. You know, that was my second tournament in my rookie year on the PGA Tour.
Mm.
And it was a pretty eye-opening thing for me. Obviously, I played well, finished 7th, but it was just like, you know, watching him and how just calm he looked trying to win the tournament. I was just like, okay, I've still got a ways to go here.
Yeah, this year it's a little bit different. No amateurs, and obviously missing La Quinta golf course, just the 2 courses. How do you think that, if any, will change the strategy or the way you approach this event this year?
Yeah, definitely scoring on stadium is, you know, the last few years has been by far the most difficult of the 3 golf courses. So we'll just kind of have to see how it goes with the weather. We've had a little bit kind of cooler temperatures the last few days. I think it's supposed to be pretty nice tomorrow. So the stadium to me is a very weather dependent course. If you can get it on a nice, warm, calm day, it's still a difficult golf course, but with the par 5s and, you know, you get some wedges in your hand, you can kind of shoot a pretty good score out there. But I've played it some days in, you know, relatively high winds, and man, it can be a real beast. So I think that'll depend a lot on how it goes. But certainly playing stadium 3 times, you really gotta play out there. You can't kind of scrape it around and still shoot a good number on that golf course.
For sure. Coming off the Sony Open in Hawaii last week, a T2 finish there, which was huge for you, obviously securing your full status after playing on a medical extension. You're a 4-time winner on the PGA Tour, and I'm sure each of those wins is, you know, unique and special in each way. But, you know, knowing that you needed to perform the way that you did last week to secure your job, basically, for the rest of the season, how was that feeling different from, you know, a victory? I guess there must be a different feeling, but is there some similarities? Is what I'm asking you.
Very similar, yeah. It certainly felt like a win to me. It just totally kind of changed my year, to say the least. To go from, you know, I mean, I was about to sign up for some Monday qualifiers, and definitely had already looked at the Corn Ferry schedule when I'd be playing out there, and you know, going from that to now being where, you know, I'll most likely get into Bay Hill and going to be able to play the Players, and, you know, just completely kind of back to the schedule that I've enjoyed the last 10 years is pretty nice. I certainly won't be taking it for granted, that's for sure. And yeah, you know, obviously winning the tournament would have been a real bonus, but, you know, I kind of won my tournament, I guess you could say.
Absolutely. Well, that's terrific. We'll take a question from Rex Hoggett at Golf Channel. Go ahead, Rex.
Chris, I know you said something along the lines of you could only get so nervous, so I know in that situation you probably weren't thinking about your situation, but when you do get it done on a Sunday like that, given the fact I'm sure it was on your mind, can you compare it to a victory? Was it the same nerves that you had in your 4 victories and all the experiences that you had along the way?
Yeah, I mean, I was incredibly nervous. Well, thanks for the cup, Rex, by the way, before I get further into your question. Yes, it was certainly different, and things are, I would say, you know, the last couple of years have been obviously wildly different for me. And so I felt like I was starting to make some progress in the fall. You know, I finished 18th at RSM, which was my best finish on tour since I came back from my leave, if you will. And that was the first time where, like, on Sunday, I was a little bit nervous, but I felt okay. I felt like, all right, I can still do this. And then on this past Saturday and Sunday at the Sony, it was definitely an enhanced feeling of that, feeling like, okay, I'm really nervous, but that's not going to hold me back from playing great. I can still hit great shots. I can still make putts, which is, it felt incredible. It felt a lot like I felt, in 13, 14, 15, 16, those years where I was playing really great. I would get in these situations, coming down the stretch on Sunday where I had a chance to win, and I felt so nervous, but I knew that everybody else did too, and I felt like I'm really good at handling this situation. And when I'm really nervous and when I feel under the gun, like, I know that I can still do it. It doesn't make me feel any less nervous, but I had this kind of sense of peace and calm that, like, I can handle this situation, and I can handle it maybe better than some of these other guys can handle it. And so that was, maybe didn't have that much confidence this past week on Sunday, but it felt like, all right, my nerves and my mental game are not going to hold me back, which is something I haven't felt in quite a while. So that was a huge relief. And then getting done playing and knowing that I had done what I needed to do to secure my card for the rest of the season was just a huge relief, and definitely some disbelief there, to be honest. And that, I just was shocked that, going into a week knowing that you need to finish top 3 and doing it, that's it's just kind of silly. It's not like, I think a lot of people have, it's been great hearing all the congratulations. That was so clutch. That was awesome. And it's just like, to me, it feels like, it just happened. I just was kind of there and playing golf, and that was the way it all played out. It wasn't like it didn't feel anyways like, oh, I really dug deep and made it happen when it had to happen. It just kind of worked out. So I'm very thankful that it did.
Do you enjoy feeling nervous, maybe opposed to how you would have felt in that position, I don't know, 3-4 years ago?
Yes, that has definitely changed. I definitely got, for a while there, I would say probably more so in like 2000, maybe late 2017, 2018, beginning of 2019, where whenever I got in a situation where I was starting to feel nervous, I hated it. And I don't know how that related to the personal issues that I was going through. I think they probably went hand in hand more than I realized at the time, but I just hated it. And so I got to the point where it was kind of like, why am I doing this? Like, whenever I'm, because obviously you're the most nervous when you're playing well and you're having success. So it's like, I'm out here playing every week and I want to do well, but then when I do well, I just feel like I want to throw up. It feels awful. And so that's something that's been awesome to have that come back, where, obviously being really nervous, it's never going to be like a comfortable feeling, but you can still like it. And, I'm back to where now, when I start to feel really nervous, no, it's not comfortable, but I love it. I love that's where I'm at, because that's, why I really want to play. I really want to compete, and I really want to see how good I can be again. So it's a sign, obviously, that, I'm doing some things the right way.
Thanks. Congratulations, Chris.
Sure. Thanks, Rex.
Thanks, Rex. We'll jump over to Kevin Price with PGAtour.com. Go ahead, Kevin.
Hey, Chris. I wanted to ask if you think there was anything from your win at the King and Bear Classic last year that you were able to draw from, I guess, this weekend at Sony, as you got that top 3 after, feeling the vibes being in contention and pulling it off at the King and Bear.
Yeah. Hey, Kevin. Thanks for the question. Yeah, there were definitely some parallels. I had my buddy Michael Cromie that was on the bag at the King and Bear as well, that was with me this past week at Sony and here in Palm Springs as well. So that was some familiarity there. And just the, kind of that same feeling like I was talking about with Rex, of being nervous coming down the stretch, but having some of that belief again that, I can handle this and I can do this, and obviously it didn't work out last week to a win, but, I felt like, especially on that back nine, I kind of did everything that I could do. And so, I'm definitely happy with the way I played and happy with the outcome for sure.
And then, were you had you let your mind think that you might have to go back to the Korn Ferry Tour a little bit if it didn't work out last week, or do you not, considered that fully, I guess?
Yeah, absolutely. I was planning this year. I was planning on playing kind of a mixed schedule of some PGA Tour events, some Korn Ferry Tour events, playing some Monday qualifiers for the PGA Tour also. And I got to think that one of the things that made what I did last week possible is that I was perfectly okay with that. I was completely content with just playing whenever I got to play. I was really happy with where my game was at, and I felt like I was really finally starting to play good and really put it all together and feeling good about all aspects of my game. And so I felt like in my mind, whether it was, the fulfilling my medical like I did last week was the least likely way for me to get back to the PGA Tour. I was at 40-something on the Korn Ferry Tour money list. Going into last week, I think I was about 130th on the PGA Tour FedEx Cup list. And then I also had the possibility of the Korn Ferry Tour finals. So the current year FedEx, current year Korn Ferry list, or the Korn Ferry finals, I had those three different avenues were how I saw myself getting back to good status on the PGA Tour next fall. The way that it worked out, like I said, was probably the least likely option. The best option, but the least likely option. So I was very content though to be chasing those other three avenues and just trying to go play well. And I was very confident that I was going to get back onto the PGA Tour by this fall, one way or the other. But obviously couldn't be happier with the way that it turned out.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, and congratulations. Great work.
Thanks, Kevin.
Getting it done.
All right. Thank you, Kevin. We'll jump across to Adam Schupak with Golf Week. Go ahead, Adam.
Hey there, Chris. Just want to ask you, how would you compare your game now versus when you were top 20 in the world?
I would say it feels pretty similar. I think, if anything, there are times lately when my ball striking has felt a little bit better. I feel like I've become a much better driver of the ball over the past few years. My putting the last couple years has been what's really held me back. This past fall, I started working with Ramon Descanza on my putting, and I'm going to actually see him in a little bit this afternoon, and he has been huge game changer for me, just night and day as far as my confidence in my putting, being able to have a really great consistent practice routine. And I don't feel like I'm gonna go out and make 30 footers all day or anything. Some days I might, but I feel like I'm gonna show up every day and I'm gonna roll the ball well, and then what happens beyond that is kind of out of my control. But he's given me a ton of confidence in a part of my game that I was really struggling with. So that's been what's kind of allowed me to put together a week like last week, and hopefully we'll be able to continue some consistent play as we go through this year.
And now that you do have the card, what are your goals? What do you still hope to accomplish in your career?
To be honest, I've never really been someone that's set a whole lot of goals for myself. Obviously winning out here is what all of us want to do. But I am really just enjoying being back in the process again and spending the time, putting the work in to try to feel like I can be as competitive as possible, and just enjoying working on it every day. I'm definitely a big process person versus, a goal and goal-oriented person. So I love the getting out there and putting the work in, practicing, and just kind of seeing what it gives me.
Okay. And lastly for me, just to kind of understand the lifestyle change you've made, what's something you did in the past where you look back and you go, man, I can't believe I did that, and how do you really spend your time now differently?
Oh, there's a there's a lot of things that I can't believe I did, and most of them I don't really want to talk about, to be honest with you. But I'd say the big thing is just how delusional my mind became for a while there, and how I let my kind of anxiety run rampant, which was, fueled by the lifestyle that I was living, and just completely irrational thoughts that I got to that felt, very, very real and reasonable to me. So that's one of the best gifts of sobriety and recovery, is that, I can I'm able to see things for what they are now, which is great, and gives me a great sense of peace that, no matter what comes my way, as long as I stay sober and stay in my program and do things the right way, then, I can deal with whatever.
Thank you.
Sure.
Okay, Chris, that's all we got. Just before we let you go, I just, like many, noticed on television last week on Sunday, there was a couple of your colleagues, I think Brendan Todd, maybe Harris English, were out there to welcome you when you finished. Mm. That's something that's typically, for winners, but it's not something that typically happens for runner-ups. And now that you've had a few days to process that and reflect on that, how meaningful was that for your colleagues and friends to come out and see you finish in that way?
Yeah, it was incredible. That's some of my best friends that I stayed in the house with last week. Brendan Harris, Sepp Straka, and Keith Mitchell. We had a great time last week, and they knew how big that was to be able to get it done. And yeah, so to see all those guys when I got done playing, I know that those guys are, just to feel how genuinely happy they were for me is it's a cool thing that we have in golf that other sports don't really have. That they're obviously my competitors and my adversaries, if you will, but we all really want to help each other out and really pull for each other and are really close, and it's kind of become a great support group. And these are people that care a lot about me personally, probably more so than professionally. So to kind of see that on Sunday, when you know it's there. Obviously Brendan and I have been really close for a long time, and have kind of seen the ups and downs of both of our careers. But just to see how genuine that caring was from them is something that's really special.
Well, we really appreciate you making the time to speak with us and offering some great insight into last week and your career as well. So thanks again, and have a great week this week at the American Express.
Absolutely. Thanks a lot.